So we're going to talk just briefly about all of the drama going on with Gypsy, and then we're going to get into the book. If you are not aware of the book that I am reading, it's called Will I Ever Be Good Enough? And it is about daughters of narcissistic mothers and the patterns of abuse and the cycle and all of that good stuff. So if you'd like to hang out and listen to me read that book and learn a little bit about narcissistic abuse, you have come to the right spot. Hey, y'all. No, you haven't missed anything. I just got on. I was making dinner and had to take my dog for a walk. And so all of that stuff comes first. And then once I get done with all of those things, I can come on and hang out with you guys. But I gotta take care of my kids and my dog first. All right. So, thank you, Jason. I have had a really good day. I hope you've had a good day. Hey, Poppy. Oh my gosh, it has been like a wild last couple of days. Hey, Zora, I have not forgotten about you, and I have not forgotten about that video. I wanted to make sure that I was lining up the timeline right, because I don't want to call her a liar and say that she lied about the whole June 10th thing, if it could be accurate. So I'm waiting to accurately, check all my facts and everything like that before I come out with that video. Yeah, I gotta take care of my dog and my kids. Hey, Patience. Oh my gosh, you guys, my day was good. How was your day? Which video did you send me, Sassy? Oh, yes, with the ultrasound. Because remember, I was saying thank you for liking the live. Remember, I was saying the last time that we were reading the book and we were hanging out, that her very last chapter was about how June 10th had turned from being this like really horrible day where, it was filled with sadness and all of that stuff, because that was the day that her mother had been unalived. And then it went to this glorious day of how, she was able to see her baby for the first time on a sonogram, la da da, whatever. I don't think that her having her first sonogram happened on June the 10th, but I need to be positive before I make a video and say it. I did see, because Zora sent me the video of her going into the doctor's office, and that was on May 27th. And the lady in the video said, "No, you're too early. We can't see anything for another couple of weeks." And when I looked at the calendar, another couple of weeks would have been June the 10th. Like, it would have been. But she didn't post anything about it until July the 10th. And the pictures that were in that baby announcement, which is gone now, and I can't find them on Reddit, those pictures and the date that those were posted, I don't know when those were posted. So I'm still trying to find those pictures, those the baby announcement pictures that her and Ken took, where she's wearing that pink flower dress. Right. She didn't, I know she didn't see, because I heard the lady in the video saying, "No, it's too early." Okay, so they've got to be in Facebook, in one of those groups. Kathleen, how did you break your rib? Oh my God, that sounds so painful. Are you okay? I actually just got finished eating dinner. I found this really cool recipe. So, when I'm like at home, I tend to scroll for videos that I can learn like how to cook, how to sew, and that kind of thing when I'm not, watching Gypsy Rose content. But I found a really cool recipe that's kind of like lasagna, but it's not lasagna because it's done with not lasagna noodles, but you'd follow the same steps, just mixing it all together rather than putting it, in layered lasagna. And that was really good. Do you have a copy of that, Zora? When she posted it to her private friends in Facebook, and would the photos have had a date on them? Because when I remember when I got my very first sonogram, the the sonogram had a date up on the top. It like had a date, had my birth name, it had my birth name, my date of birth, and it also had like my doctor's name, and all of that info was like at the top of the sonogram. Oh my gosh, did you have to go to the hospital? Patients, when you say in utero, is that meaning like they stick that thing up inside you to see it, or they rub it on your belly? Are you okay? Did you have to go to the hospital? I can't even imagine. I've never broken a bone before. Yeah, that's what I thought, Sassy. I thought that it came with like a date and all that stuff on it. Yeah. So I remember, it's been a while since I've been pregnant. So it's hard for me to remember everything that happened and how it happened. But I do remember them getting an ultrasound like inside of me and on my actual belly. So I do remember all that. So hers should have a date on it. And I really want it to be that she was lying about that as well. Like, I know that that sounds terrible to like want somebody to be lying about that kind of thing, but I just have a feeling that she's being untruthful about it. And it's not like it's okay. You said it was a few weeks before you guys stopped being friends. And if you guys stopped being friends on May the 24th, then it had to have been a couple of weeks before that. And for her to say it happened June the 10th, she would have only been like 7 weeks pregnant then. If you look at a calendar, she would have only been 7 weeks pregnant. They don't do sonograms that early. Yeah. And she's saying that she got to see the baby on June 10th. June 10th. So that's like 6 weeks before, maybe 5 weeks before July 24th. That's crazy. Hey, Amelia. I hope you're having a good night. Make sure you're taking care of yourself, Kathleen. Like, lay down and take a rest. Right, Zora. That was that first pregnancy test that she took. Okay. Have a good night. Talk to you later. Yeah, and I hope you're taking like some sort of pain medication. Thank you for liking the live. Make sure you're double tapping the screen, everybody. I took Kimber on a walk for like an hour and a half, I want to say. Yeah, she's saying that she told her girlfriend Amelia that she was pregnant long before she said anything to Ken. Sorry, I got like my nose is running. So we went on like an hour and a half walk, came back, I cooked dinner, and now we're just chilling. So I do want to mention this whole. I don't know if you guys heard that Gypsy Rose was having her baby. That is absolutely not true. There were a lot of people that were in her live that were saying that she was having her baby, not in her live, but in is that going to charge that? In Katie Joy's live, saying that she had her baby or whatever. Um, that is not true. They're trying to deflect. Hey, Mandolin, I have a standard poodle. They're trying to deflect from the fact that the Petrie family is very, very upset about. Oh, no, I don't believe that. The Petrie family is very upset about the fact that Gypsy made this book and all the claims that are inside this book. Now, we knew that she had been lying all along. He's a good boy. Come here, Kimber. Here, come here. Yeah, there he is. Um, we've all known that she was lying about 90% of the things that she says, maybe 99% of the things that she says. And I guess with this book coming out, it really has the Petrie family like up in arms about the things that she's discussing in the book. Because now that it's on print, it is literally considered slander. Like before, when you're just saying things out loud, it doesn't. Thank you so much, Ariel. Before, when you're saying things out loud, you can get away with like the First Amendment, freedom of speech. But when you put it in a book and you print it, you are now messing with not just freedom of speech, but you can be charged with slander because nothing that she has put in that book can be proven as fact. So they're really upset about it. So I did want to touch base about the pictures that I took earlier, the screenshots. So apparently a couple of months after Gypsy got, slandering and defamation. So apparently when Gypsy got out of prison, a few months later, Claudia or Dorla was not making videos like speaking poorly about Gypsy. They were not speaking poorly about Gypsy. They were saying that they did not support her and that they were still very upset about the fact that, they took that Gypsy took their sister's life. Just facts about how they were feeling. They weren't necessarily saying anything negative about Gypsy, so to speak. But apparently Gypsy got her panties in a twist about it and was like, if you have something you would like to say to me about my documentary, life, or how I live, by all means, please, I'm all ears, because sharing hate videos is messed up, especially since you are family. And I just want to say that coming from her, that's rich, because she has slandered every single person in her family, down to her sister, Mia, and Nicolette. I don't recall that I've heard her say anything about Dylan yet, but she has slandered every single person in her family. She slandered her dad. She slandered Christy. She slandered Mia. She slandered Nicolette. She slandered Dee Dee. She slandered Nicholas. She has slandered thank you, Cambria. She has slandered every single person that is in her family. So for her to say, especially since you are family, like, girl, really? You've been straight talking trash about your own mother. Your own mother. After you unalived her, you plotted to unalive her. You've been straight talking trash about her since the day you were arrested and before that. And now she wants to talk about family and have some sort of morals and family values. Like, what the fuck? Like, are you serious? So then she goes on to say, sorry, but you are being unfriended, as if Dorla or Claudia, whichever one she sent this to, is heartbroken over that. I have no time for those who add to the drama in my life. I just wanted it to be known. I'm sorry for the pain I've caused, but now I am going to allow myself a little grace to let myself be free for once in my life. Now, we all know that this bullshit, I'm gonna allow myself to be free for once in my life. Gypsy had all capabilities of being free. She chose to continue to stay attached to her mother and not separate whenever she could. She chose that. She chose that. So, her being and living in that home with her mom, she was not being held hostage. She had a bus pass. She had access to her own social security card, her own medical cards. Like, she could have gotten up and walked away whenever she wanted. Matter of fact, she did. When she wanted to go see Dan in the hospital, what did she do? She hitched a fucking ride to the hospital. So if she really wanted to leave her mother's house as badly as she wanted to go and see dipshit in the hospital, she would have made it happen. Just like she made it happen to go visit him in the hospital. Just like she made it happen all of the nights that she snuck out of her mom's house and went patrolling the streets, getting on the bus, going here, there, and everywhere, being with whomever she wanted. If she truly wanted to get away, she would have used that same energy to go out and find men to get the fuck away from her mom. It was never about that. She wanted her mom unalive because she thought she was going to be able to keep the house and keep the money. And she thought that if her mom was unalived, that she was, especially because she thinks that, oh, I didn't do anything. I wasn't the one who committed the act of the kill, blah, 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 blah. She expected to walk out of that police interrogation room and go the hell back home. She did not ever expect to be held in prison for what she did because she's such a narcissist that she does not believe that the rules apply to her. And for a long time, it seems like they haven't been applying to her. But I can tell you what, karma's on its way around. And if you didn't already know, her account got hacked the other day and now it is officially banned. Does anybody think that she'll be able to get it back? I don't know. I am really hoping that she does not get that account back because she hasn't done anything with those 9.8 million followers since she's gotten out. It's all been all about her. How can I profit? How can I make the most money off of this social media platform by doing the absolute least? You know, that's what it's been for her. And yes, so Sassy Missy has a screenshot of the account that shows that it's banned. I don't have it because I think that whenever you are blocked, it doesn't matter if you are blocked from that person. You're not able to see if you're still not able to see their account even if they are banned. So, hey, Christopher. Yes, no, not right now because I'm going to start reading this book in just a minute. This live is a book reading for this book called Will I Ever Be Good Enough? And I'm getting ready to pull all that up. I really hope that she doesn't get to keep it. I really, really hope that TikTok refuses to give it back, because remember, she was gonna get rid of it in a couple of months anyways. So like, if you're gonna get rid of it, just be without it, you know? I think that it was a lie that she was going to get rid of it. I think that she's trying to allow everyone to think that she doesn't really care. It's whatever. If she gets it back, it's whatever. This girl cares. Her entire clout hangs on the fact that she is.
The colors of the sky fade with the setting sun.
Sorry.
As the stars begin to shine through the
that she
night.
has that
colors of the sky
9.8 million followers.
The colors of the
sky.
So she is hooked on social media for whatever reason. Now I know there's a lot of people who are addicted to social media for whatever reasons. So she just posted. Let me look and see what she just posted. Oh my gosh. You guys, I am a nutcase because I like tear my toenails off and I like to chew on them. I know that sounds fucked up, but I like to chew on them, and I was saving this one damn toenail and I lost it. Whatever. I'm upset. I'm annoyed that I lost it, but it's okay. I'll be all right. I lost my toenail. Okay, let me see what she posted, because it just said that she posted.
I understood the assignment. Did the assignment?
Oh, I can't see it because it's private. I think they're talking about. I think they're talking about this other Cajun heart of mine, the fake gypsy account. Okay. Why does my screen look like this? I don't know. Let me go into my settings really quickly. It looks weird. I guess I'll have to look at that in a minute and figure it out. Yeah, Cajun heart of mine. Yeah. I think that's what it was alerting me. I thought it was gypsy. It's not. False alarm. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If she was really going to let it go in a couple of months, why would it matter if she got it back? It's because she wants everyone to think that she does not care about her social media accounts, but she absolutely does care. She absolutely cares, probably more about her social media accounts than she does about her own like boyfriend and her own baby. She cares so much about social media because social media is how she believes that she's going to be able to stay relevant. That's what feeds her ego, is social media. So she wants her account back. Yeah, it's a distraction from her actual life, and I think it feeds her ego. I think that she is such a POS of a person that in order to feel somewhat of a good person, she has to constantly have people in her ear telling her how pretty she is, or how much of a warrior she is, and she's so brave, and this, that, and the other. Like, I truly think that she needs that. Yeah. You can type it if you want. if people are interested in hearing. So the whole reason, no, not the crazy theory, because I don't want anybody to get in trouble. I definitely don't want you to get in trouble for saying that out loud. We'll just keep that between us for now. We'll just keep that between us for now, because I don't want that out there on a public platform until we have some sort of proof behind that. You know what I mean? Because I don't want you to get in trouble. So the whole reason why I wanted to start reading this book, Will I Ever Be Good Enough, is because number one, I have a narcissistic mother and I am no contact with my narcissistic mother because of how she treated me my entire life. And I thought that talking about narcissism and how it affects the children of narcissists would be really cool to discuss, considering this is what Gypsy's baby is going to essentially be going through now that she is going to be coming into this world and having a narcissist as a mother. I am very aware of the dynamics between narcissistic children and narcissistic parent, not narcissistic parents, but narcissistic parents and their children. So a lot of people started following me when I posted about how Gypsy was a narcissist and the correlation between her relationship and the children and the people around her. And I thought that we could go over this book. It doesn't have anything to do with Gypsy per se, but I'd like for you to listen and then try to connect what it is that we're reading to what it is that you know about somebody in your own life, or even, somebody that you might know on social media, because there are a lot of narcissists on social media as well. So I'm going to read the acknowledgments first. And again, the book is called Will I Ever Be Good Enough? And it's a book specifically about recovering from daughters recovering from narcissistic mother relationships. For me, writing a book meant slamming into brick walls, climbing them, facing them again, climbing them yet again, an Olympic-sized mental workout. It has been stressful, but most importantly, a meaningful labor of love, and certainly a task one does not master in isolation. While a thank you seems hardly enough, I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to the special people who accompanied me on this trek of passion. First and foremost, my children. I don't think we need to read the acknowledgments. I think it'll be okay. Yeah, I'm sure they're important, but we can just skip past that. Introduction. Our relationship with Mother is birthed simultaneously with our entry into the world. We take our first breath of life and display the initial dependent human longing for protection and love in her presence. We are as one in the womb and on the birthing table. This woman, our mother, all that she is and is not, has given us life. Our connection with her in this instant and from this point forward carries it with it tremendous psychological weight for our lifelong well-being. Oddly, I have never wanted to believe this. First, being a feminist era mom myself, I didn't want mothers and women to bear so much responsibility or ultimate blame if things go wrong. Certainly, many factors other than mothering shape a child's life. Second, I didn't want to face how feeling like an unmothered child had such a devastating effect on me and my life. To acknowledge this meant I had to face it. While doing research over the years, I have read many books that discuss the mother daughter bond. Each time I read a different volume, unexpected tears would stream down my cheeks. For I could not recall attachment, closeness, memories of the scent of my mother's perfume, the feel of her skin, the sound of her voice, singing in the kitchen, the solace of her rocking, holding, and comforting, the intellectual stimulation and joy of being read to. I knew this was not normal, but could not find a book that explained this lack. It made me feel somewhat crazy. Was I delusional or just a chick with a poor memory? I could not find a book that explained that this phenomenon of feeling unmothered could be a real deal and that there could be mothers who are not maternal. Nor could I find a book that discussed the conflicted feelings that their daughters have about those mothers, the frustrated love, and even sometimes the hatred, because good girls aren't supposed to hate their mothers. They don't talk about those bad feelings. Motherhood is a sacred institution in most cultures and therefore is generally not discussed in a negative light. When I decided to write a book on mothers who don't mother their daughters and the pain this causes girls and adult daughters, I felt as if I were breaking a taboo. Reading books about the mother daughter bond always gave me the sensation of a deep loss and the fear that I was alone in this suffering. Experts wrote of the complexity of the mother daughter connection, how it is rife with conflict and ambivalence. But I felt something different, a void, a lack of empathy and interest, and a lack of feeling loved. For many years, I did not understand and I tried to rationalize it. Other members of the family were well intentioned therapists explained it away with various excuses. And like a good girl, I tried to make excuses and take all the blame. It was not until I began to understand that the emotional void was a characteristic result of maternal narcissism that the pieces began to fit together. The more I learned about maternal narcissism, the more my experience, my sadness, and my lack of memory made sense. This understanding was the key to my beginning to recover my own sense of identity apart from my mother. I became more centered, taking up what I now call substantial space, no longer invisible even to myself, and not having to make myself up as I go along. Without understanding, we flail around, we make mistakes, feel deep unworthiness, and sabotage ourselves and our lives. Writing this book has been a culmination of years of research and a soul journey that took me back to when I was a little girl who knew something was wrong. Feeling that absence of nurturing was not normal, but not knowing why. I am writing this book now in the hopes that I can help other women understand that those feelings were and are not their fault. Sorry, I'm getting teared up. Yeah, this is the new book, Kathleen. I'm reading the book called Will I Ever Be Good Enough? This does not mean that I want you to blame your mother. This is not a journey of projected anger, resentment, or rage, but one of understanding. We want to heal ourselves and we have to do that with love and forgiveness for ourselves and our mothers. I do not believe in creating victims. We are accountable for our own lives and feelings. To be healthy, we have to first understand what we experienced as daughters of narcissistic mothers, and then we can move forward in recovery to make things the way that they need to be for us. Without understanding our mothers and what their narcissism did to us, it is impossible to recover. We have been taught to repress and deny, but we have to face the truth of our experiences, that our longing for our maternal warmth and mothering is not going to fulfill, and our wishing and hoping that things would be different are not going to change things. As girls, we are programmed to look at the dynamics of the family in a positive light, even when we knew we lived under a shadow. Our families usually did not our families usually did look good to outsiders, but though we sensed something was wrong, we were told that really it is nothing. This kind of emotional environment and dishonesty can be crazy making, smile, be pretty, and act like everything's good. Does that sound familiar? I'm still amazed whenever I talk to other daughters of narcissistic mothers at the similarities of our internal emotional landscapes. We may have different lifestyles and outward appearances for the world to see, but inside we wave the same emotional banners. My greatest hope is that this book will offer you acknowledgement and validation for your profound emotions and allow you to feel whole, healthy, and authentic in who you are today. In writing this book, I had to fight many internal battles. First, I had to trust my ability to do it, as I am a therapist, not a writer. Second, and of more interest, I had to talk to my mother about it. And when I brought it up with my mother, I said to her, "Hey, Mom, I need your help. I am writing a book about mothers and daughters, and I need your input, suggestions, and permission to use some personal material." My mother, bless her heart, said, "Why don't you write a book about fathers?" And of course, she was worried about being a bad mother, which would be expected since she was able to give me her blessing. However, I think it is because she was trying to understand that this is not a book about blame, but a book about healing. I have to admit, I wanted her to say many things like, "Are there some things we need to discuss or work on together? Do you have pain from your childhood? Is there anything we can do about it now? We can heal together." But none of this happened. After all those years of my own recovery work, I knew not to expect her to be able to do this empathic inquiry. I was grateful that I had mustered the nerve to broach the book to her, which admittedly took me some time to do so. At one time in my life, this exchange would have been unthinkable. Somehow, after taking this risk, I found it easier to move forward and be authentic in talking about my own experience as well as about my own research. Although it would have felt emotionally safe to write at arm's length from a purely clinical perspective, I hope that my own stories of being a daughter of a narcissistic mother will help you know that I do understand. I have been there. I've divided the book into three parts. The parallel my approach to psychotherapy. Part 1 explains the problem of maternal narcissism. Part 2 shows the impact of the problem, its many effects, and how it plays out in daughters' lifestyles. Part 3, the roadmap for recovery. I invite you now to come with me to learn about yourself and your mother. It won't always be a comfortable or easy trip. You'll be emerging from denial, confronting difficult feelings, being vulnerable, and facing characteristics of your own that you may not like. It is an emotional undertaking. Sometimes you will find it funny. Other times you will feel a great deal of sadness as you try to understand what you experienced and heal from it. By doing so, you will change the legacy of distorted maternal love and make a lasting difference for your daughters, sons, and grandchildren. As you face the honest reflections of your life patterns, you will ultimately like yourself more and become better at parenting, in relationships, and everything else in life. Emotional legacies are like genetic legacies. They pass along to each generation without anyone really taking a lot of notice. Some of the hand me downs are endearing and wonderful, and we feel grateful and proud, but some are heartbreaking and destructive. They need to be stopped. We need to stop them. Having done my own recovery work from my distorted maternal legacy, I can say that I have been there and I can help you change yours. I welcome you to read further with me, sit with me, talk with me, cry with me, laugh with me. Together, we will begin to deal with the reality of your emotional legacy, even if it's always been all about mom. Now it is your turn. It gets to be all about you. The you that maybe you've never discovered or didn't even know existed. Gordito, this book, I mean, it's a book about narcissistic mothers and daughters. So you're welcome to stay and like listen. But I really don't need anybody in here being a smartass. Let me look and see how long chapter 1 is and if we can get through it this evening in less than an hour and still be able to have a discussion. If I don't think that we can get through the chapter and have a discussion in an hour, we might just have to pause until tomorrow. But I think we can make it. I think we can make it because it says chapter 1 is like 13, 14 pages. I think we can make it. As long as I'm like reading relatively at a good pace. Okay, so part 1, thank you for all the likes. Part 1 is recognizing the problem, the emotional burden that you carry. There was a little girl who had a little curl right in the middle of her forehead, and when she was good, she was criticized anyway. Ellen Goldcomb, PhD, trapped in the mirror. Ashes, I'm reading the book Will I Ever Be Good Enough? It's a book about narcissistic mothers and their daughters, but it's more for daughters, not the mothers. For many years, wherever I went, I was accompanied by a gang of harsh critics who made my life almost unbearable. No matter what I tried to accomplish, they were always there reminding me that I wasn't up to the task and could never do a good enough job. If I was in the midst of spring cleaning or working hard on home improvement project, they screamed at me, "This house will never be what you want it to be." While I was exercising, they would nag, "It doesn't matter how hard you try, your body is falling apart. And you're a wimp. Can't you lift more weights than that?" I'd make final decisions and they would bark at me. "You were always a moron at math, and now you're a mess at finances." My internal critics were particularly nasty when it came to my relationships with men, whispering things like, "Can't you see you're a loser? You always pick the wrong men. Why don't you just give it up?" And most hurtful of all, when I was having problems with my children, they would stridently announce, "Your life choices have harmed your children. You should be ashamed of yourself." These incessantly disapproving voices never gave me a moment's peace. They, I don't think I can pronounce this word, so I'm going to say it, try to say it slowly. Harangued, Harangued. I think that's pronounced Harangued, but if I'm wrong, please correct me. That's how my mom was too, Amelia. She's very selfish, and literally the world did revolve around her because she wouldn't allow the world to revolve around anyone else but her. Harangued, nagged, and demeaned me with the overall message that no matter how hard I tried, I could never succeed, never be good enough. They created such an extreme sensitivity in me that I constantly assumed others were judging me as critically as I was judging myself. And I know that I have felt like even the smallest criticism from somebody else was a direct attack on me because I've always felt pressured to be perfect because I never felt like anything I was doing was ever good enough. So even the smallest criticism, I felt like, why are they attacking me? Why are they being so mean? When in all actuality, thank you so much, Poppy. When in all actuality, they weren't necessarily attacking me. I was just unable to receive those criticisms because I felt like I wasn't good enough. Therefore, when I felt like I wasn't good enough, I felt like everyone else also viewed me as not good enough. I'm I've been sober for 6 years, so I totally understand what that's like. My mother is also an alcoholic drug addict, but I don't have relationship with her, so I can't imagine what it's like trying to get sober and, having those issues with your mom as well. What I can say is that in a lot of ways, people who are addicts have real issues with codependency, and we feel like it's our responsibility to help others when in all actuality it's not. It's their responsibility to take care of themselves and our responsibility to take care of ourselves. So regardless of what her struggles are, you can't do anything about her struggles. You just need to focus on yours and keeping your peace and your sanity, because if she falls back into her life of addiction, most people are glad to pull you down with them. So you want to make sure that you're strong enough that if that happens, that you're strong enough to separate yourself from her and not carry on that codependent type of relationship. I I thought that this book would touch home for a lot of people, and that was one of the reasons why I really wanted us to read it so that we could have a discussion. And um, do I think that this is going to be therapeutic for us? Absolutely. I think it's going to be therapeutic for all of us in a lot of different ways. I'm not asking you to verbally, spill out the things that have happened to you. But if you want to share, great. If you don't want to share, that's fine too. I think being aware is more helpful than anything else. Finally, I realized that these critics were destroying me emotionally, and I made a decision to annihilate them. It was a question of my very survival. Fortunately, my decision led to my recovery as well as my research, clinical work, and the writing of this book. After I decided that the inner critics had to go, my first order of business was to figure out where they had originated. As a psychotherapist, I figured they were probably connected to my family history, but my background didn't seem problematic. My family touted a sturdy Dutch, German, Norwegian, and Swedish heritage with a solid work ethic, with no overly mean personalities or apparent child abuse. My self protecting denial reminded me that I had grown up with a roof over my head, clothes to wear, food to eat. So, what was my problem? I promised myself I would find out. Why am I so unsure of myself? For 28 years, I had conducted psychotherapy with hundreds of women and families, which provided me with clinical experience to draw from. As I sought to unravel my own internal mystery, I had treated scores of women who shared many of the same symptoms I was finally recognizing within myself: oversensitivity, indecisiveness, self consciousness, lack of self trust, inabilities to succeed in relationships, lack of confidence regardless of our accomplishments, and a general sense of insecurity. Some of my clients had spent unproductive years in therapy with other practitioners and had purchased stacks of self help books that never seemed to pinpoint what was causing their pain. My clients ranged from high powered, successful professionals and CEOs to stay at home soccer moms to drug addicted mothers on welfare to public figures. Like some, my clients had always felt that they lacked something crucial in their lives that seemed to be connected to this distorted self image and security that haunted their adult lives. Like me, they felt they were never good enough. I'm always second guessing myself. I replay a conversation repeatedly, wondering how I could have handled it differently, or just to bask in my shame. Most of the time, I realize there is no logical reason for me to feel embarrassed, but I still feel that way. I'm really anxious about what other people think about me, Jean 54 says. People often compliment me on my accomplishments, my master's degree in communications, my successful public relations career, the children's book I wrote, but I can't seem to allow myself the credit I probably deserve. Instead, I beat myself up for what I think I've done poorly or should have done better. I'm such a cheerleader for my friends. Why can't I be that way for myself? Evelyn 35 says. When I die, I've told my husband he can carve my tombstone with she tried, she tried, she tried, she tried, and then she died. Susan, 62. I think a lot of people are drawn to Gypsy because of their own dynamics with their own mothers, or or they know somebody like her. That was one of the reasons why I was drawn to her, because I had a really abusive parent. I mean, my mom was abusive. There were times where one time, if my sister hadn't busted through the door, she probably would have strangled me to death. Like that type of abuse, right? Not this pretend shit that Gypsy thinks that she's suffered from, like real life shit that happens. And after everything that my mom did to me, the worst thing that I could ever think of doing was just not talking to her again. I could never fathom actually doing something to harm her. So it didn't, for me, it didn't make sense why Gypsy unalived her mom after claiming this supposed abuse. And then when I started digging into it more and more, I realized that it was all a scam. After years of study and clinical work, I began to see that the debilitating symptoms I shared with so many of my female clients had their origin in a psychological problem called narcissism, specifically our mother's narcissism. Much of what I had read regarding narcissism pertained to men, but when I looked at the descriptions of it, something clicked. I realize that there are mothers who are so emotionally needy and self absorbed that they are unable to give unconditional love and emotional support to their daughters. I saw that my clients' troubled relationships with their mothers, as well as my own relationships with mine, were clearly connected to maternal narcissism. It became clear to me that the crucial element missing in my own life and in the lives of my insecure, unfulfilled female clients was the nurturing and empathetic love that we all desperately needed but didn't get from our mothers. And our mothers probably hadn't gotten it from their mothers either, which means that a painful legacy of distorted love was passed from generation to generation. The more I learned about narcissism and how it plays out, hold on, I gotta do this puzzle piece. Okay. The more I learned about narcissism and how it plays out in the mother daughter relationship, the more completely I committed myself to helping instill understanding, self trust, and self love in the daughters of narcissistic mothers. This book is designed to explain the dynamic of maternal narcissism and to provide you with strategies to overcome it without in any way blaming narcissistic mothers. Healing comes from understanding and love, not blame. When we can understand the barriers to love that our mothers faced, which resulted in their inability to give us love, we can begin to take steps to ensure our own well-being. Our goal is to understand and to take responsibility for yourself and to heal. And with this book, you will learn to be loving towards yourself and also your mother. In the beginning stages of this process, you might feel deeply hurt, sad, angry, and even enraged. These reactions are normal, a critical step on the road to recovery. In time, as you gain more understanding of maternal narcissism, you will be able to embrace a new kind of love to replace the distorted love that you received as the daughter of a narcissistic mother. Why focus on mothers and daughters? Both boys and girls suffer emotional disruptions when a narcissistic father or mother raises them. A mother, however, is her daughter's primary role model for developing as an individual, lover, wife, mother, and friend. And aspects of maternal narcissism tend to damage daughters in particularly insidious ways. Because the mother daughter dynamic is distinctive, the daughter of a narcissistic mother faces unique struggles that her brothers don't share. A narcissistic mother sees her daughter more than her son as a reflection and extension of herself rather than as a separate person with her own identity. She puts pressure on her daughter to act and react to the world and her surroundings in the same manner that mom would, rather than in a way that feels right for the daughter. Thus, the daughter is always scrambling to find the right way to respond to her mother in order to win her love and approval. The daughter doesn't realize that the behaviors that will please her mother are entirely arbitrary, determined by only her mother's self seeking concern. Most damaging is that a narcissistic mother never approves of her daughter simply for being herself, which the daughter desperately needs in order to grow into a confident woman. A daughter who doesn't receive validation from her earliest relationship with her mother learns that she has no significance in the world and her efforts have no effect. She tries her hardest to make a genuine connection with mom, but fails and thinks that the problem of rarely being able to please her mother lies within herself. This teaches the daughter that she is unworthy of love. The daughter's notion of mother daughter love is warped. She feels she must earn a close connection by seeing to mom's needs and constantly doing what it takes to please her. Clearly, this isn't the same as feeling loved. Daughters of narcissistic mothers sense that their picture of love is distorted, but they don't know what the real picture would look like. This early learned equation of love pleasing another with no return for herself has far-reaching negative effects on a daughter's future romantic relationships, we will see in the later chapters. What is narcissism? Because a lot of people don't understand what narcissism actually is. The term narcissism comes from the Greek mythology and the story of Narcissus. Narcissus was handsome, arrogant, and self involved, and in love with his own image. He couldn't tear himself away from his reflection in a pool of water to become. Hold on, Hold on. He couldn't tear himself away from his reflection in a pool of water to become involved with anyone else, and ultimately his self love consumed him. He died gazing at himself in the water. In everyday usage, a narcissist is someone who is arrogantly self absorbed. Self love or self esteem, on the other hand, has come to mean a healthy apprehension. I'm sorry, a healthy appreciation and regard for oneself that does not preclude the ability to love others. The DSM, which is the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, describes narcissism as a personality disorder classified by the 9 traits listed below. Narcissism is a spectrum disorder, which means it exists on a continuum ranging from a few narcissistic traits to the full blown narcissistic personality disorder. The American Psychiatric Association estimates that there are approximately 1.5 million American women with NPD. Even so, non clinical narcissism is more pervasive problem. In truth, we all have some of these traits, and those at the low end of the spectrum are perfectly normal. However, as you go further along the spectrum of narcissism, you encounter more problems. Here are the 9 traits of narcissism, including examples of how they present themselves in the mother daughter dynamic. The narcissistic personality has a grandiose sense of self importance. Example, exaggerates achievements and talents and expects to be recognized as superior without, sorry, without achievements. Example, the mother who can talk only about herself and what she's involved in and never asks her daughter about herself. Sally hates to introduce people to her mother because her mother never stops talking about her volunteer work at the children's hospital, giving medical descriptions as though she herself is the doctor. To hear her talk, she has saved many lives. Number 2 is preoccupied with fantasies of unlimited success, power, brilliance, beauty, or ideal love. Example, the mother who believes her career cleaning houses will bring her widespread recognition through the many efforts of her famous clients. Mary's mother constantly talks about her important clients and how much they need her and appreciate her, and how she believes she will be hired on a movie set with one of them soon because she's because she's a house cleaner. She thinks she's going to get some sort of a movie deal. That's funny. Believes that he or she is special and unique and can only be understood by or should associate with other special or high status people or institutions. Example, the mother who takes her family out to dinner and treats the wait staff like serfs in her personal kingdom. Carrie says it is embarrassing to go out to dinner as a family when her mother comes along because she truly acts like she is the queen of the lizard lounge. My mom, we didn't really go out to eat a lot, but whenever we did, my mom definitely acted like she was the queen. Requires excessive admiration. The mother who demands praise, gratitude, and compliments for everything she's ever done for you. Jane's mother attends her grandson's soccer games every once in a while, but when she does, she expects Jane and her family to appreciate the fact that she sacrificed her time in order to be there. She is forever bringing up all that I do for your kids. Has a sense of entitlement, i.e., unreasonable expectations of especially favorable treatment or automatic compliance with his or her expectations. Example, the mother who feels too important to stand in line. Marcy's mother liked to gamble, but when she went to casinos, she immediately got a wheelchair, though she was clearly not disabled, so that she could be pushed to the front of the line. In grocery stores, Marcy mother would stand in the middle of the aisle and ask perfect strangers, "Could you find this for me?" I knew that a lot of the reason why Gypsy used the wheelchair when they were out in public was so that they could get pushed to the front of the line. Because if you just keep in mind that if you've ever gone to like Disney or Magic Kingdom, all of those places, people who have disabilities are pushed to the front of the line so that they can experience it first, and they get to go ahead of everyone. I knew like deep down in my mind that a lot of the wheelchair was the special treatment that she received from being in the wheelchair. Is interpersonally exploitive, takes advantage of others to achieve his or her own ends. Gypsy also does this. The mother who seeks out only friends who can help her get somewhere with her own goals in life. Sarah's mother talks about her friends in terms of what they can do for her as opposed to their likable qualities. Her mother recently rejected a longtime friend when the friend was diagnosed with lupus. The mother was afraid her friend would need something from her. Number 7, lacks empathy, is unwilling to recognize or identify with the feelings and needs of others. The mother who immediately restates any story her daughter has told, pointing out the correct way to tell it. Candace cannot really speak at all in her mother's presence without being corrected, criticized, or demeaned in some way. Is often envious of others or believes that others are envious of her. Now, every single time that somebody makes a video about Gypsy, the first comment is, "Oh, you're so jealous." Nobody's jealous. Nobody's jealous. Nobody's jealous. We want her to be held accountable. There's a difference between wanting someone to be held accountable and being jealous. So the mother who says that she has no female friends because most women are jealous of me. Sue's mother believes she is gorgeous and therefore a threat to other women. She often repeats the old L'Oreal commercial in which the beautiful model proclaims, "Don't hate me because I'm beautiful." Number 9, shows arrogance, haughty behavior, or attitudes. The mother who believes that her children are too good to play with other children who have fewer material luxuries. Jackie's mother only allowed her to associate with children from moneyed families because most people were not good enough for her well-heeled children. Each of these 9 traits is exhibited through behaviors that say it's all about me and you're not good enough. Narcissists lack empathy and are unable to show love. They appear to have a superficial emotional life, and their world is image oriented, concerned with how things look to others. If your mother exhibits many of the above narcissistic traits, you may usually feel that she doesn't really know you because she never takes the time to focus on who you really are. We, daughters of narcissistic mothers, believe we have to be there for them and that it is our role to attend to their needs, their feelings, and desires, even as young girls. We don't feel that we matter to our mothers otherwise. Without empathy and love from her mother, a daughter lacks a true emotional connection and therefore feels that something is missing. Her essential emotional needs are unmet. In severe cases of maternal narcissism, where neglect or abuse is involved, the most basic level of parental care is missing. In more subtle cases, daughters grow up feeling empty and bereft and don't understand why. My goal is to help you understand why you feel as you do and free you to feel better. When mothers don't bond with their daughters. As we grow through each stage of development, when our parents nurture and love us, we grow up feeling secure. Our emotional needs are being met. Hold on. But when a daughter does not receive this nurturing, she grows up lacking emotional confidence and security and must figure out a way to gain these by herself. Not an easy task when she doesn't know why she always feels empty to begin with. Normally, a mother interacts with her baby and responds to her every movement, utterance, and need. She thus fosters a solid bond of trust and love. Oh, excuse me. The child learns to trust her mother to provide her with physical necessities, emotional warmth, compassion, and approval, which allows her to develop self reliance. But a mother without compassion who fails to forge a bond with her daughter provides for that daughter only when it is in the mother's best interest. Her daughter thus learns that she can't depend on her mother. She grows up apprehensive, worried about abandonment, expecting deceit at every turn. A striking example of the effect of maternal narcissism is exemplified in a dream told to me by my client Gail. The dream has reoccurred throughout her lifetime, beginning when she was a child and continuing into her adult life. I'm dancing through a summery green meadow, carpeted with delicate wildflowers and shaded with stately trees. There's a melodic brook whispering through the tall grass. In a clearing, I spy a beautiful spirited mare, a flawlessly white horse which is grazing. Unperturbed by my approach, I run to her joyously, anticipating her whiny of appreciation and approval as I offer the apple I picked from a nearby grove. She ignores me, and the fruit and she ignores me and the fruit viciously bites my shoulder instead, then returns to her foraging with complete indifferences. After reporting this dream, Gail said to me sadly, "If my own mother can't love me, who can?" I don't know how many times I felt like that. Gail came to understand that the horse in the dream represented her longing for a fantasy mother, the one that she wished she had. As well as her real mother, who typically turned away and did not respond to her needs for love and approval. It's a natural human feeling to long for a mother who loves everything about you and absolutely and completely. It's normal to want to lay your head on your mother's breast and feel the security and warmth of her love and compassion. To imagine her saying, "I'm here for you, baby," when you reach out for her. We all need more than the roof over our head, food to eat, and clothes to wear. We need the unconditional love of a trusted, loving parent. My 66-year-old client, Betty, reported that she still wishes she had a good mother, but pragmatically gave up on that idea long ago. I used to cry myself to sleep wishing I just had that mother to love me and make me a pot of soup. Serena, a beautiful 30-year-old friend of my daughter, was chatting with me one day about her mother and was also telling me about therapy. She encapsulated the longing for maternal love in her statement. When I am talking to my therapist, sometimes I want to jump into her lap, curl up on the couch with her, and pretend she is the mommy I never had. The feelings expressed by Gail, Betty, and Serena typify the longing for maternal love that daughters of narcissistic mothers experience. As you learn more about maternal narcissism and how to recover from its effects, you'll gain a healthy appreciation and love for yourself and know how to fill that old emotional void. Hello, hope. Goodbye, denial. Motherhood is still idealized in our culture, which makes it especially hard for daughters of narcissistic mothers to face their past. It's difficult for for most people to conceive of a mother incapable of loving and nurturing her daughter. And certainly no daughter wants to believe that her own mother. Mother's Day is the country's most widely observed holiday, celebrating an unassailable institution. A mother is a commonly envisioned as giving herself fully to her children, and our culture still expect mothers to tend to their families unconditionally and lovingly, and to maintain an enduring emotional presence in their life, available and reliable no matter what. Even though this idealized expectation is impossible for most mothers to meet, it places mothers on a heroic pedestal that discourages criticism. It is therefore psychologically wrenching for any child or adult child to examine and discuss her mother frankly. It is especially difficult for daughters whose mothers don't conform to all the saintly maternal archetype. Attributing any negative characteristic to mom can unsettle our internalized cultural standards. Good girls are taught to deny or ignore negative feelings, to conform to society's and their families' expectations. They're certainly discouraged from admitting to negative feelings about their own mothers. No daughter wants to believe her daughter, I'm sorry, no daughter wants to believe her mother to be callous, dishonest, or selfish. I believe almost all mothers harbor good intentions towards their daughters. Unfortunately, some are incapable of translating those intentions into the kind of sensitive support that daughters need to help them through life. In an imperfect world, even a well meaning mother can be flawed and an innocent child unintentionally harmed. Once we daughters begin to face the painful truth that maternal narcissism does indeed exist, we can start to address the disturbing emotional patterns that we have developed throughout our lives. We can courageously look at your past and heal from it by honestly facing up to these tough questions. And write these down. Why do I feel unlovable? Why do I never feel good enough? Why do I feel so empty? And why do I always doubt myself? We'll talk about this at the end of the chapter, okay? If you want to talk about it, I'll answer mine. And then if you want, you can answer yours too, but don't feel obligated. You can feel better and find a better way to live. You can understand what maternal narcissism did to you and decide to nurture yourself and feel good about who you are in spite of it. You can also prevent your own children from undergoing what you went through. Every woman deserves to feel worthy of love. It is my hope that as you come to understand how narcissistic mothers treat their daughters, and as you gain support from the stories and advice you read, you will require the strength to break free from the longing for a mother you never had. Instead, you will be able to nurture and love the woman you have become. So, before you proceed further, please answer the questions in the survey that follows so that you have a clearer idea of the extent of your own mother's narcissism. Even if your mother does not have all 9 traits of a fully blown narcissistic personality disorder, her narcissism has no doubt harmed you. Questionnaire: does your mother have narcissistic traits? Mothers with only a few traits can negatively affect their daughters in insidious ways. Check all those that apply to your relationship with your mother now or in the past. There's like 33 questions, so we can go through these one by one, and if you just get like a piece of paper or a pen down or whatever, you can just answer yes or no like in your notes. You don't have to type it in the chat or whatever. This is just for you. Okay? So, we're going to go one by one. When you discuss your life issues with your mother, does she divert the discussion to talk about herself? I'm going to go with yes. When you discuss your feelings with your mother, does she try to top those feelings with feelings of her own? Yes. Does your mother act jealous of you? Yes. Does your mother lack empathy for your feelings? Yes. Does your mother support only those things you do that reflect on her as a good mother? Yes. Have you consistently felt a lack of emotional closeness to your mother? Yes. Have you consistently questioned whether or not your mother likes you or even loves you? Yes. Does your mother do things for you only when others can see it? This one's hard to answer because she doesn't really do anything for me at all. So, and if she did do something for me, it was usually to help me self-destruct. So let's go with yes. When something happens in your life, accident, illness, divorce, does your mother react with how it will affect her rather than how you feel? This is a good one too. I'm going to go with no because she doesn't really react as if it will affect her. She just has told me about all the ways that I'm stupid for doing this, that, or the other. Is your mother overly conscious of what others think, neighbors, family, friends? Yes. Does your mother deny her own feelings? Yes. Does your mother blame things on you or others rather than own responsibility for her own actions or feelings? Yes. Is your mother easily hurt, and does she carry a grudge for a long time without resolving the problem? Yes. Do you feel you are a slave to your mother? Yes. Do you feel you were responsible for your mother's ailments or sickness? No, I don't. Do you have to take care of your did you have to take care of your mother's physical needs as a child? Yes. Do you feel unaccepted by your mother? Yes. Do you feel your mother is critical of you? Yes. Do you feel helpless in the presence of your mother? Yes. Are you ashamed often by your mother? Yes. Do you feel your mother knows the real you? No. Does your mother act like the world should revolve around her? Yes. Do you find it difficult to be a separate person from your mother? Yes. Does your mother swing from egotistical to depressed? Yes. Does your mother appear phony to you? Yes. Did you feel you had to take care of your mother's emotional needs as a child? Yes. Uh-oh, I skipped one. Oh, does your mother want to control your choices? Yes. Do you feel manipulated in the presence of your mother? Yes. Do you feel valued by your mother for what you do rather than for who you are? Yes. Is your mother controlling, acting like a victim or martyr? Yes. Does your mother make you act different from how you really feel? Yes. Does your mother compete with you? Absolutely. Does your mother always have to have things her way? Absolutely. Note, all of these questions relate to the narcissistic traits. The more questions you checked, the more likely your mother has narcissistic traits, and this has caused some difficulty for you as a daughter and as an adult. That was a lot of yeses. Okay, we're gonna stop here because it's almost 9. I need to get in the shower and stuff. But I want to go back to that one question that I skipped over just so that I can answer it. And if you want to answer it and talk about it, we can. So she asked a couple of questions, and one of them was, why do I feel unlovable? And I think the biggest reason why I have felt so long that I am unlovable is because love was conditional. It was never something that was freely given just because my mother was being nurturing or whatever. It was always something that I felt like I had to earn. I felt like I had to do things in order to be loved or be what's the word, be praised, or told that I was doing a good job or that sort of thing. There was never just a hug and a good job. It was always um on the basis of what did I do to earn this hug or this teddy bear or whatever. Why do I never feel good enough? I guess I would go with, because even as a straight A student, playing in the band, um, I don't know if you guys remember like that when you were a kid, they gave you the book readers club, and the more books you read, like you were able to get certain prizes. Well, I was always reading so many books that I always got prizes for the books that I read, and you would like go up every level, and I was on like the highest level, and even being on the highest level, my mom still never said good job. Like I was never praised for anything I did. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. It was always about like it wasn't good enough. No matter what I did, there was always something that I could have done better or have been doing better or whatever. There was just never acceptance that I was on the straight A honor roll. I never got anything good for that. I never got anything for any of my achievements. It was always, how can I be better? Why do I feel so empty? I don't feel empty anymore, but I guess the reason why I did in the past was because I did not understand what love felt like, and therefore I didn't think that I was worthy of that love. And because I didn't feel like I was worthy of what love should feel like, it created this empty hole inside of me where I didn't feel like I was worthy of anything good. Why do I always doubt myself? Um, because I've never been supported in the decisions that I've made, or when I've made decisions, I've been made to feel like my decisions were stupid or they've been negated. Um, None of my choices have ever been praised in any way. So I feel like that's the reason why I doubt myself, because no matter what ideas I've had in the past, it just seemed like they weren't taken seriously. So, in essence, they were kind of brushed to the side as unimportant. And that's the reason why I've doubted myself for so long, because I've had ideas, good ideas, and there was nobody ever supported me in those ideas or made me feel like those ideas were good. Yeah, you had to read a lot of books in order to get those. But when I was younger, we didn't have TV. Like we had a TV, but it was only like the local channels. I didn't have cable or anything like that. So like the only thing I had to do was read and listen to music. So if I wasn't reading a book, I was listening to music and like literally writing down the words to the lyrics of the songs because I had nothing else to do. This was a really good book, wasn't it? So we're only on chapter 2. There's still so much more that we're going to get through. Um, Remember, you don't have to share anything that you don't want to share. If you want to go back towards the end of the reading where I asked all those questions and sit and answer them for yourself, you're welcome to do that. And then if you want to talk about it tomorrow when we go back live, we can. If you don't want to talk about it, you don't have to talk about it. It's just helping you to be aware. And then make sure that you go over these last 4 about why do I feel unlovable? Why do I never feel good enough? Why do I feel so empty? And why do I always doubt myself? Because being self aware is how we are able to grow and nurture our inner child and nurture the people that are around us. So I really appreciate you guys coming and hanging out with me. It really sucks to have grown up in a family with a mother that didn't feel like they loved you. Every daughter, every child deserves to feel love from their parent. And not having that has definitely impacted me in a lot of ways. And I'm grateful that I no longer feel like I need her love and approval in order to make my own decisions in life. But there for a while, it definitely felt like I was making all of the wrong choices because it was almost like, well, she doesn't care, so why should I, Or I'll never be able to do anything good enough for her, so why even bother? That kind of thinking. But that kind of thinking isn't really helpful because if you really think about it, you're not living your life for other people. You're living your life for you. So what other people see about what's going on in your life is really not important because at the end of the day, we all die alone. We all die alone. If I happen to die tonight, I die by myself with my dog in the bed, not by anybody else. Therefore, nobody else's opinion should matter because they're not coming with us regardless. They're not. They're not coming with us. We don't need to make them happy to feel whole. We only need to make ourselves happy. Yeah, that's what I don't understand. Like A is good. It's really good. So like be happy with the A. Yeah, you can try for A plus next time, but be excited for the A. Like that's a big fucking deal, especially when you get A honor roll all the time. I don't know who's trying to join my live, but I'm getting ready to get off. Okay, you guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. It's been so nice hanging out. I'm glad to be back. The last couple of days have been crazy. I didn't know if anybody would even be on the live, but we've had 4 to 6 consistent people, and I say that's a win. That is a win. You guys have a wonderful night.